Hello, my name is Megan Dion. I am the Public Art and Artist Program Specialist with the Nebraska Arts Council, and welcome to the Fred Simon Gallery, which is located in the Nebraska Arts Council offices in the Old Market in Omaha, Nebraska. The Nebraska Arts Council is a state agency that offers programs, grants, and opportunities that foster creativity across the state. One of our programs is the Fred Simon Gallery. We feature exhibitions by artists dealing with all different content and mediums from all over the state. Right now, we're going to hear from our current exhibiting artist about the work that they create for this gallery and in their studio practice and why they do that. So we look forward to seeing you at the Fred Simon Gallery and the Nebraska Arts Council very soon.
Hi, my name is Calandra Cooper, and I'm one of the artists of Filament, and I'm here in the Fred Simon Gallery. So thank you for joining me. And I am a natural dyer that likes to work with mud and all things natural on textiles and fiber, and I'm also a fiber artist. So here I have what I call one of my collage scarves. So if you know what a collage scarf, collaging is, it's usually done on paper, but this one is done on natural silk. It's collaged and it's dyed with a natural spice, 2 spices, and tells a story about how I was feeling at the moment. I was thinking about the turn of the century, and inventing. So follow me. So here I have some of my scarves. Again, here's another collage scarf. This is a felted scarf, and these are simply natural dye. One of my favorite mediums to work with is mud. So I actually go out to Nebraska's Missouri River, get mud to actually dye with. To get it to dye, there's a fermenting process which starts out with a tannin. After I've actually fermented mud to make it alive, to actually get it to generate the colors that I want. So here with this scarf, which is lightly felted, the dyes in it are all done with mud. And this is also mud. So you can get tones that are deep black to browns to even hints of reds, because some of the soil that's in the earth is actually red. But again, it starts with a tannin base, and then I build on it using the fermented mud and sometimes heat. I like to dye with all sorts of different natural dyes. Indigo is one of my favorite colors also. And the reason I like this collage scarf is not only because it's lightly felted, it's because I've actually used indigo in it. And usually when you see dyers with indigo, they go for the really dark blues, but I like the baby blues. It almost looks white. I can get a white color. And the process to getting that is you can use a really exhaustive bath or really limited amounts of indigo. This is a spice called anito, and I think I also use turmeric with it. So if you play around with the dyes in different settings like alum, you can get different colors. So for me, natural dyeing, it is a process, but I came about it very organically. I'm a gardener and I also keep honeybees, so I got very interested in learning how the plants out of my garden can bring color. So from that, it just morphed. And I started experimenting with things like flowers, irises, different leaves, like Japanese maples. You can dye with the leaves. In the spring, they'll give you one color. In the fall, they'll give you another color. Just like lotus flowers, they give you a beautiful tannin of yellow. It's as bright as the sunshine. But again, it's from looking at things that I saw in my natural environment, that originally stemmed from my garden that just expanded, and I got more and more curious and started reading and learning about dyes. And then I became fascinated just with mud, because soil is everywhere. And just the fact that you can take something that's so abundant, so simple, and get such an array of colors, for me, is fascinating. These are a couple of my art scarves as well. With natural dyeing, it's a dye. You often use it on textiles or fabric. I was also for a minute into vintage couture sewing, so I started looking for different ideas on how to make my own textiles. I have really large pieces, but because I like to work with natural substances and I like to experiment, the silk became a really good canvas for me. So this is turmeric with walnut inks that I make. All of the colors that I'm getting for the scarves and the pieces, they're all natural substances, stuff that I've pulled from the earth or things that I've made using natural substances. But again, these are examples of textiles, because again, with natural dyeing, I like to think about using them for utilitarian purpose, something to wear, not necessarily for artistic purposes all of the time. So just get really unique patterns. So here I was trying to mimic what I would think a snake in an odd color would look like. Then over here, again, turmeric is one of my favorite colors. I like to mix it with different dyes. You can even get pinks. This is one of my favorite pieces because of the felting. I would see a lot of people wearing the really, really heavy felted scarves, which for me, they kind of wear you down. So this process, I use needle felting to get a lighter, more airy felting technique. It makes it more comfortable to wear, I think, and I think it melds more into the fabric. But I like it. And the reds, that's even turmeric. I do that with a process where I apply heat to it. So natural dyeing is also very, what can I say, what's a good word? You never know what you're gonna get. You have to experiment, try out different things. And that's part of the creative process, which I really, really like, because I like to work organically. I never have a plan in anything that I do. So I'm back with more of my work. Here is another one of my art scarves. This is made with using the dye from a lotus flower or water lily. I forget which one. The only difference between the flowers is if the flower sits on the surface of the pond or river, it's called one thing, and if it rises up, it's called another thing. But I know I did this in the springtime, because if you use the leaves of the flower to get this bright yellow color, in the springtime you get a golden. If I would have waited until the fall to use it, I could have got a red. So again, that's one of the mysteries of natural dyeing. And here, I dye a lot on natural fabrics, cloth and silk primarily, and different types of silk, but I also dye naturally on canvases. And when I'm not making cloth on canvas, I make portraits or I make collages. So this is a collage where I'm using mud and turmeric and mica. And a lot of the things that I do depends on the way I'm feeling at the time. So this is nice, bright, sunny, happy, because I was feeling nice, bright, sunny, and happy. But I'm into collaging, and you don't have to just collage using paper. So here I am doing it on canvas using all of the natural minerals or paints that I've made on my own. And here's another one back here. It's a same feel though. I love the mud brickwork that I've got in there and the collage going on. But it's a really good, gives me a really good feeling. And especially the mica that's in it that helps the piece for me come alive and kind of stand out more. And I start these with just a flat muslin. The more I work it, because I start with tanning the cloth underneath it to get the dyes that I'm using it to bind to the fabric or to get all of the colors to come out. The canvas or the muslin will get harder and harder, just like a painting canvas will. So I like that also. Here I have a number of different, not a number, maybe about 5 of this type of drawing of these portraits of these women. I call them Vivians. So in my background, my family is from Louisiana. And in Louisiana as a child, I remember a lot of the ladies walking around, they had the Tignons. Tignons have a really nice history in Louisiana. But every time I would see these ladies and naming my mother's friend Miss Vivian, I would feel like really, really good, really happy about her. And I know some people associate this type of look with servitude, but for me, when I saw them in Louisiana as a child, always gave me feelings of happiness. But I used to wonder, like, what was Miss Vivian's life like? This type of look was kind of like just a uniform for her. But I came across this poet and writer, Paul Dunbar, from I think like maybe the late 1800s, early 1900s. He was one of the first people, he was African American, that photographed and talked about Black Americans in their natural element during that time, where they weren't caricatures. So, and this is inspired by that. But I'm using natural dyes, the turmeric, the different shades of mud, which I've mixed in with indigo, mica, her checks on her dress has actual indigo, mica, her tignon, the chalks here are chalks that I make using chalks and minerals. So yeah, but I really love it. But I have Vivians in canvas, and I also have paper Vivians. They give me a really good feeling, but there's a history behind them that stems from my childhood in Louisiana. And all of the houses that my family owned on the block that we lived in Minden, they were always painted bright orange and yellow, so it gives me a good feeling. So yeah, so Vivian comes from a happy place, and my wondering about women lives during that time. So thank you for joining me. I really appreciate your time. I hope that you can make it down to the Fred Simon Gallery to see more of my work. I really would appreciate it. If you're interested in me or learning more about what I do have a website, which is centerstudio518/Calandra Cooper. Thank you very much, and come on down.